This club's about winning trophies. I'm inexperienced in a lot of those things.
3-0. Sorry for smiling there.
Almost lost the cup and you win it. The new European champions, the treble, the dream come true for you.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end. Because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing. This shadow, even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it'll shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you. That meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going. Because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo. And it's worth fighting for.
And United is worth fighting for, sir. And we're here, not giving up, with our 2023-2024 season recap. Thought of no better fitting monologue than Sam telling Frodo there's hope in the world, and there's hope in this club, sir.
I'll tell you what, I would not want to know what the soundbite would be if we were to have lost the FA Cup final, but I do think that is fitting. I do think, Sam Wise, he got that name for a reason, sir. And what he says at the end of Two Towers, which is like, darkness is here, but this too shall pass. We will get through this. We will get through this as a club, as a fan base, and as a podcast. As the American Red Devils, we will prevail. Manchester United will be back. And this season, we've had a lot of shit seasons over the last 10 years, 11 years. This was the worst. But in some ways, there were some sweet moments. And we're going to go through the recap in a bit. When I was doing this agenda over the last couple of days, going through it, it's like the bad was so bad this year. But there were these amazing moments culminated at the end with an amazing win against our city rivals with all the youngsters shining. It was just a fun day winning that FA Cup. And you know what? Looking forward to putting this season in the rear view mirror, sir, because it's been a hell of a... Bro, I went through some of it. Some of it was like PTSD. Some of it was like PTSD inducing, going through your scrapbook from an old breakup where it was not a good relationship. There were some good moments, but going through it is mildly traumatic. So I think I need a hug after doing this agenda.
It's worthy skipping. But, like Sam says, those folks in those stories had many times they could have turned around and they kept going. And that is this podcast. That is this season. If you listen to us, the downs were down. Sometimes we question it. Can we just skip this episode? Can we skip this match recap? There's too many of those to count. Crystal Palace being the one in most recent memory. But we made it. Here we are. It is the summer. Shout out Real Madrid, a little club. If you've ever heard of them, won their 15th Champions League / European Cup.
Cinderella story.
They're going to get Mbappe on a free. They need it. This whole thing. Machine. It's just can't wait for them to be as shit as United. I really look forward to the phase where they don't just fail upwards. Somehow I feel like they've just been getting away with one. But again, as 8th place in the English Premier League, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and not be thinking about other clubs. But again, Dortmund did lose. Sancho, Jadon Sandwich, everyone clowning him on socials. I just wanted to point out, hey, if he played good in the game and won the Champions League, we would have gotten paid more money by Dortmund, and then he would also probably be sold for more money, which would help us more. But now it looks like he could come back to United. But that is the end of the season. I mean, the Champions League final marks it. Euros start real soon. Transfer window is June 14th, I believe. It opens early in European time. And United don't have a coach. I mean, that's the big headline is, I mean, we do have a coach, Eric Ten Hag, but it's, Ineos has to make a call. I mean, it's just like one of those things like, is he the coach? Is he not the coach? They're talking to other coaches. That broke today. You and me did the Patreon episode yesterday. Shout out Patreon. Sign up if you haven't. We do an extra special behind-the-scenes episode every month. We were talking about the decision has to be out today at the latest. The fact they're taking another week. Who's running this thing? What are they doing? How have they not figured it out yet? Why isn't Dan Ashworth here? This summer, we need all these guys. We need the manager call. We need Ashworth in like a month ago. We don't need to be dragging our feet here. So a little worrying from Ineos, but if you don't have the director of football, how can you really make any moves? And this summer's shaping up to be one that I think we're going to want to forget, just like this season.
Yeah, I think we covered this well in the Patreon pod, sir. Shout out to Patreon members. Thanks for going the extra mile. You should check that out. Is that this season was terrible, right? We're putting that in the rearview mirror, but this summer is going to be a mess. And this summer, I don't think is going to be too dissimilar to the 13 summer, the summer after Fergie retired. We left it late, and the new regime came in, right? It was like Gill was out, Fergie was out. It was Woodward and co. at the wheel, and we left it late and ended up overpaying for Fellaini, and that was the business. Now you're going to have a regime in charge who's going to be less willing to overpay. So it's like you're going to be in a situation where they're going to be leaving it late. We don't have the head guy in. We got a lot of players to sell, right? We don't have a huge budget. We do not have a huge budget because there's so much debt in the club and there's just not a lot of cash. So they're going to have to sell to buy. We have some assets that are hard to sell, i.e. Jadon Sancho on giant wages, i.e. Donny van de Beek. The list goes on. And I think people should, manage their expectations. The summers are usually let down because, let's be honest, we're all Muppets. Sometimes our minds and our imaginations run wild, as they should sometimes. But this summer, I think you're right, John. This summer could be brutal. This summer could be a mess. And the fact, I have a lot of reasons to be confident about Ineos based on, the smoke signals I'm seeing and the messaging they're doing, but this is the first big decision, yes or no, on Ten Hag. And the thing they're not doing is making a decision. I could have never guessed that we are now 10 days post FA Cup final, and I never would have taken the bet that they would have made no announcement. They're no. I thought they'd be fired. I can understand not firing them, and I understand the fans getting behind them after winning that FA Cup final and that being so emotional. But the fact that they have said nothing. They have said nothing. It's very odd. And that's kind of reminds me of, the Glazers when they dragged their feet on Ole and took an extra 5 weeks. It's just that is not good because a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. And it's we just got to fucking make a call.
It's what are you doing, dude?
What are you doing, dude?
What are you doing, dude? I mean, this is, it's insane. It really, I thought these guys were cross the T, dot the I. They had it all planned out and then some. I thought they'd be back channeling Ashworth and what he thought of the manager. I thought the call would be made. He'd lift the cup. They'd sack him the next day, maybe 2 days later. If that's the call, then do it. And by the way, if you sack him, you already have the next guy penned up.
Right.
This whole now we're gonna go talk to people. What are you doing?
I thought you'd been talking to people.
I mean, we don't also the new ownership, the sort of tier journalist leaks are kind of all over the place as well. So we're kind of navigating that space with this new regime. But at this time, a little nervy. It's also because we have so much baggage from historical windows. Last window, we couldn't sell Magoo, right? We couldn't get rid of certain names. And then we didn't get center backs in, young center back prospect. We could have got Pavard on a free, but we're sell to buy. And so all these moves just been stacking up over time. And so we have to make so many this summer. And I feel like we're just going to be like a little bit of contracts for the boys, extend them, don't make big calls, don't make big moves. Because when you're sell to buy, everyone knows that. They're going to hold you out. And it's just going to be a rough go because you're not going to be able to do deals till the end, and then you can't spend that money till the next window. If Ashworth doesn't get in anytime soon, the real rebuild doesn't start till he arrives, and that won't be till next summer. And that's really what's going to be tough because you're going to be stuck with like a roster that's a mess, and you have to deal with next season. And next season will probably be I don't think it could be worse than this one as from like just like the eye test on the pitch, but you could be 8th.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us would take that if the football was better because the football was so bad. And going through all those games, it's like we played so much bad football and got away with a bunch of games just based on the talent of certain players in our team. And I agree with you. It's like it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess of summer for a bunch of different reasons, right? They're late to the party. There's so much to do. We've been stacking those plates. Those dirty plates have been piling up in the kitchen for like years. And there's so many players to sell. We don't just have like a checkbook, a credit card we can kind of run down. We just don't have that same latitude we used to when the Glazers would just panic buy in the last couple of weeks of a window. Like they're going to go slower, and they're also going to find out is like there's a United tax that we built by being fucking morons over the last 11 years that is still into effect, and we have to kill that by literally like fighting that in actual deals. So like when they even do try to get a deal, we're gonna try to get raked over the coals on price. And that is going to slow things up as well, sir. So this summer, manage your expectations. It could be an absolute mess, and it would match the season we just closed out.
You know, like Sam Wise said, sir, you know, some of the stories you don't want to hear the end of. You can't.
This summer, you might not want to.
Exactly. Quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the America Red Devils, we are for fans, by fans, no commercial sponsors on the pod. We want to go 100% fan-backed. Fan-supported in 2024, sir. Our Patreon is the best way to do it. We mentioned the Patreon episode. We had a riot recording that yesterday, breaking everything down the month of May, the FA Cup victory, the uncertain future of Erik ten Hag. If you want more ARD content, sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/America Red Devils. There's tons of other benefits too. Please check it out. Also, we have our great blog, AmericaDevils.com, AmericaDevils.store. We still have our Erik ten Hag Red Army scarf on sale until they're gone. $4.99. You can't find a better scarf out there. Support the bald man while he is still here. Tell them about iTunes reviews and other ways they can support the podcast.
Those Ten Hag scarves have been flying out, sir. So he is being backed by certain groups within our fan base. Love to see it. And speaking of supporting the pod, you can join Patreon. You can buy merch, like John mentioned. But another great way to support the pod is write 5-star reviews. They help us get found organically by other top Muppets like yourself. And we're giving away free merch. All you have to do is write a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Send a screenshot of that review to americadevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear right to your door. Here's a great review from a 10 out of 10. Tennessee, appreciate that. My go-to, truly awesome podcast. You guys do a great job, and I listen religiously. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody writing those 5-star reviews.
Love all those reviews week in, week out, sir. We have an extra special recap podcast. That's right. We're talking 2023, 2024, full season recap, all the downs, and then that FA Cup final. Alex, you track the markets. Break down our summer signings coming into the season.
Let's go through it. And these numbers, this is the age of the player when we signed him, right? So some of these ages have moved a little bit. And the numbers are the best number we can come up with. This is the transfermarket.co.uk figure, but doesn't always add in add-ins, and obviously exchange rates change, so just keep that in mind. Signings. Let's go through it. Number one, the first big sign in the summer was Rasmus Højlund, the 20-year-old Danish striker that we signed from Atalanta. 74 million euros. Højlund went into the season not with a lot of senior goals. This was a diamond in the rough type of signing. I think largely vindicated. I think we overpaid. I think, obviously, would have loved to pay 50 million euros.
Vindicated?
Well, he's our top signing. So he's clearly a very talented striker.
No,
we were not vindicated. Hold on. Vindicated. Let me finish my Hoyland steak.
It's like vindicated.
He's a great player. He'll be an even better player. We overpaid for him by at least 25 million euros, but like I'm glad we signed Rasmus Hoyland.
Yeah, okay, I would say yes. So United's issue is the price that we pay. I mean, this one, like for his return that he had, we paid double based on
Highest
the
score on
track
our
record.
team, to be fair.
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, Hoyland will come good. But he's 2 to 3. Like when we sign him, he's 2 to 3 years off of the 20-goal season. If he gets it next year, that will be to the upside. But when you're paying 70, 74 plus, at the end of the day, you need that like high teens and goals. He was close to it. But a lot of the production was early in the Champions League group stage. You know, his bread has to be buttered in the league. He's young. I like him a lot. Just we overpaid. So I like the player. I would have preferred maybe to get 2 strikers for the price of 1 at the end of the day because we just need bodies, and that hurt us when he was injured, and we did buy him when he was injured as well.
It's been one of our issues, overpay.
Yeah.
When you overpay, when you spend 75 million, 85 million, I can think of all the bad transfers we've done, 85 million pounds on an Anthony instead of like 3 Anthonys for the same price. Yeah, like you're not diversifying. So Hoyland, great player. We overpaid, but hey, we needed a striker. We got a striker. Mason Mount, speaking of overpaying, Money Mount, baby, 24-year-old English midfielder from Chelsea. Last year's contract, we dished out 65 million euros for the young lad, and he missed basically the entire season. So
Overpaid here too.
Of course we did.
Overpaid.
We should be looking out for
40 plus.
40, I would say.
40 plus. Like again,
He was in demand.
I'm a biased guy. Big #1 Mason Mount fan here. We
Jinxed
still
him.
overpaid for Mason Mount. So
did.
like for people who say I don't like Hoyland because I say we overpaid, I think we overpaid for Mount as well.
Probably overpaid for everybody on this list, sir.
Yeah, and then we go down Onana, the inner goalkeeper, Champions League final, played out the back, if you will. He retired from Cameroon for the moment for
Unretired.
AFCON, then unretired. I really liked him for this price. Retired from AFCON. Now that he's unretired, don't like it as much because at the end of the day, navigating a goalkeeping switch mid-season for a top-tier club, I like Onana a lot. I think he improved, but I just hate that AFCON. He has to leave in the middle of season.
Yeah, AFCON is a challenge, especially when you like do the old switcheroo to the club you're joining. That's a challenge, but like, I'm glad he had a great second half of the season. His first half of the season was a disaster, right? He probably single-handedly cost us getting out of the group in the Champions League. He had like 3 massive errors and 3 massive group stage games, but he had a huge second half of the season. We arguably performed higher in the league because he saved our ass so many times. He got peppered in goals. So it was always going to be really tough after Spanish Dave, and it was really tough. And I'm glad that it didn't I'm glad he didn't blow the FA Cup final. I'm glad he had a really good FA Cup final. He did let that goal in, but there was some sweetness to the end of his season because he had a rough go. Safian Amrabat, 27-year-old Moroccan midfielder from Fiorentina, $9 million loan fee plus a $20 million option to make it permanent. He got injured a lot. I think he might be a useful body if you could get like his whole transfer for $9 million, but the idea of paying another 20 to make it permanent just is not going to happen. So
He's not worth $9 million total,
Yes,
and we
he
paid
is.
$9
Yes,
million.
He played well in the final of the FA Cup, so he did.
$9 million for 1 year, and we had to pay his wages.
No, I
That's
think-
insane.
I'm not saying $9 million for the loan fee.
The-
I thought you said $9 million transfer fee would be cheap.
like we paid $9 million bucks
No, that's
to
crazy.
get him on loan, and then paid his wage. We're paying people to pay their wage. We're paying Dortmund for Sancho to play for them. Like that's how bad we are at these deals. This guy is like pay his wage, get him on a free. Like there's no way he's even close to the
These
$9
are Woodward
million.
deals, remember?
No, I know, but it's just you can't be. This is why United is madness, and this summer we're going to see a lot. Hopefully, everything's going to be different. Next, buy and Deer, $5 million. Don't mind this one. He's got a decent beard. It's cleaned up.
Should have gotten
Haven't
more
seen him in net,
Should've-
but $5 million. He looks like a player. That's all I can say. Turkish goalkeeper Johnny Evans. Here's Johnny coming back on a free. This one was that center back signing we didn't make. We didn't move Maguire on. We were sell to buy on the center back, and we didn't move Magoo on, so we didn't get to Pavard, who we were linked to last summer. But Johnny Evans was supposed to be not really playing a lot, ended up playing a lot. That tells you everything you need to know. And then Reguilon, we got on loan at left back, and then got rid of him and still had no one to play left back. So again, front office is horrid. Total spending 203 million euros. How are you feeling about all these signings going into the season?
I was concerned. I think we were both concerned. One striker when you needed two. It's like, oh, Martial be the backup. He's like the backup,
way.
bro. And Rashford is a left winger. He cannot really play striker well. So I was very worried about that because we needed like an old guy. We needed like a 30-year-old. We needed somebody else. We just needed another body, like a better Wout Weghorst, if you will. So I was worried about that. Mason Mount, I thought it would work out much better. Obviously, he's only had 1 year at United, so he still could. The goalie transition, that was not straightforward. A lot of people disagreed on that, but they did make that move, and I thought Onana was like a good deputy for the next move. And then everyone else is kind of a mess because, like, Amrabat, yeah, in theory, he had a good World Cup, but we overpaid. And then Evans, hey, bro, he did great. I'm so happy he got to win the FA Cup with United and feature this year, but, like, there were a lot of question marks there. A lot of issues. When you overpay this
Zabitzer
much.
is better than Amrabat. And Zabitzer, like, and we paid nothing
Zabitzer
for
is
him.
much better than Amrabat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
But he did play well in the FA Cup final. So, like,
That's why you don't buy people off international tournaments. It's a different pace of a game. This guy's slow. Like, yes, he gummed up the middle of the pitch, but there's nothing about, like, Amrabat that says, like, you got to have him in the midfield. I mean, you got to be better than Fred, right? And, like, let's get into the departures. Like, Fred left. I felt like with Amrabat and Mason Mount, we were trying to fix something that wasn't broken. It's like I would have taken Fred and paid nothing to extend his contract, keep him in the midfield, and I would have signed another striker. If you look at the Mount plus
center back.
that's another $70+ million you could have got for another striker, or got a lower fee striker, young prospect, and a center back. You had to be looking at the signings and plugging those holes. We did not do it. And that's where this squad had holes in it going into the season. So everyone blaming the injuries, I felt like we were light across the board in a lot of positions. And when we ran the season, we saw how horrid it was. And you and me called that out before the season even started. I was hearing a lot of hype on these transfers and this team coming into the season. You and me were actually saying, I think we said 6th in the league. We said it'd be a bad season, and the striker issue would be a huge issue where the goals could have come from. I think we also mentioned that, and we struggled to score goals. And also the goalie switch, it was always going to be instability to start the season. We called that as well. So our whole defensive record from the prior season lost that. You could blame injuries too. So a lot of dynamics I think were obvious, and that's why we need a world-class front office. Sir, you just want to run through the departures here real quick?
Yeah, I'll try to do it faster. And, the opposite lens of, like, we overpaid for these players is, like, we should have gotten a higher fee for the next list, at least some of these. Dean Henderson, 26-year-old goalie. A lot of drama with Henderson, but he ended up going to Palace for 18 million euros. Playing great. Like, another one where, like, any other top, even reasonably, like, everyone else is more competent than we are.
30.
They get 30. Easy, they get 30. Next one, too. Anthony Elanga, he went for 18 million, like, had a great year. 21-year-old, of course, Swede, went to Nottingham Forest and has had a terrific season. Better player than Anthony. And I think nobody would fight that.
Yeah, I didn't like getting rid of Fred, because he didn't replace him with anyone.
Well, you brought Amrabat, it made no sense.
He was durable. He played all the time.
Never got injured.
I thought we just could have I wouldn't like it, bad taste. I want to upgrade, but like if you're asking me, Amrabat versus Fred, you take Fred all day. Kovar, 23-year-old keeper, we sold to Bayern Leverkusen for $5 million, sir. Tellus, $5 million, took an L there. Iqbal, $1 million. I mean, look at pennies on the outgoing. De Gea left for free. Bailly left for free. Sancho loan, but we paid Dortmund to take him. Hannibal loan. Facundo loan. B-Dubs on loan. Fernandez on loan. And obviously Greenwood, who we will sell and will make money. But the total sales, 57 million euros, 146 million net. You hear the frustration. Can't sell enough players. We had holes in our roster to start the year, and I felt like we were always behind the 8 ball, sir, and including that crazy preseason we had. We played Leeds, Lyon, Arsenal, Wrexham, Real Madrid, Dortmund, Lens, and Bilbao. That was from July 12th to August 6th. We also played 2 games back-to-back, August 5th, August 6th.
Twice. We did it twice.
We did it twice. We played July 25th and July 26th, lost both games. I felt like
that didn't help, bro. That did not help.
This gets back to, ultimately the X-Files conspiracy here. The season went wrong in preseason. The preseason from hell. We had all those games, these roster moves. We had holes in the squad. We had players trying to make it back, like Martinez trying to make it back from injury. Like, there's so much that wasn't going right. And boom, we start the season. August, sir. Let's get into the season proper. It's already a mess.
It's already a mess. August, you call this pain. This is only the beginning. We had 3 matches, 6 points. We finished the month in 8th place, as we would finish at the end of May. We opened it. United played like shit the opener at Wolves, and we ended up basically stealing it with a late goal from Varane to start the season with a win, sir. But we talked about that. You talked about that Wolves game all season, and that was very much a preview of what was to come. It was just like shit football, and then sometimes we get blown out, sometimes we like get away with one, and this one we got away with one.
So this Wolves game, the amount of rage that I had and felt during this game, this was the canary in the coal mine. After that preseason, like preseason is what it is. Like there's nothing about preseason, right? Like you watch the team play, there's nothing about it. They play well, it's worth nothing.
Doesn't matter.
They play bad, it's worth nothing. This game, everything. It's at home. It's Wolves. They're dangerous, but we're a better team. We have better players. And I've never seen United get dominated, like especially opening game to the season, and we just got played off the park. Like there was something wrong with the players in the locker room. It felt like that type of dysfunction already, and this was like a huge red flag. Then we went away, lost to Tottenham 2-0. Another red flag because it's Tottenham Hotspur, but they got the Aussie manager. You call that a knife coming in.
Very good. Very
Crocodile
good.
Dundee.
I tell you what, he lost his luster a little bit. He was like the hot shit for the first 4 months. Good manager, but they're still Spursy.
I did like he didn't want to lose though. That was like good at the end. You gotta give him credit. And then Nottingham Forest 3-2, and with a Bruno Fernandes pen to fight back against Forest. We're already on the back foot. 8th place, sir. August highlight of the month was Rafa Varane's header at home in the season opener against Wolves.
They continue to mount this fantastic resistance and counter. Fernandes and Wan-Bissaka. Manchester United found a way.
Hey, what a roar. What a roar. And guess what? Jadon Sancho's celebrating with Rafa Varane. Oh, those were the days. But still, it's the first game. You could write it off. I was a little pissed because, I was so pumped for the season. And then player of the month, Bruno, 1 goal, 1 assist. But, that's August, 3 matches, and you're kind of waffling already, 8th place.
No, I mean, I think like it hit us hard because it kept staying bad. It was bad from August to really May. And then we last 3 games of the season, we figured out. September, some like it hot. We had 4. Oh, go ahead.
The fire rises.
And hot. There's a lot of red on this board. Some like it hot, baby. 4 matches. 3 points, finishing the month in 10th. 10. We started the month losing 3-1 to Arsenal away. We actually up until the 80th minute was some of the better football we'd played that season on a relative basis. Garnacho has a late winner ruled off. It was very close, very suspect, but it is ruled off. And then United shipped 2 goals in stoppage time to blow points. And I thought this was a good recurring theme of the season as well. It's like when we actually do show up, we either make our own bad luck or we get a little bad luck or we just fucking bottle it. And then we saw that's a lot this season. Us bottling it. We did it against Chelsea towards the end of the season. Did it even against Liverpool when all of a sudden we were winning and should have held that win late in the season. So, yeah, September, sir. What happened after that game?
No, and it's a great point because United shipping like goals this year, 17 goals, Amazon Prime delivery to your door after the 75th minute. If you could think about that, it is horrible, and that's only in the league. It gets higher if you go into the Champions League. But you said Arsenal, tough game. Brighton cooked us right after that in the league. Burnley, we pipped them. Burnley 1-0
We had nothing
away.
to do in that game. That was like a banger. Bruno scored a banger.
Exactly.
First
Moment
time.
of Brilliance FC. Crystal Palace beat us. And then Champions League campaign started away at Bayern Munich. We were dying for a result. This one happened right after the Brighton game. We were 2 down on in the league from Arsenal and Brighton. And then I played Bayern Munich. We scored some goals and then shipped late one, sir. Lost 4-3 away. We were 4th in the group in the Champions League to start it off. brutal. But obviously Bayern Munich, we played well, showed up, but Onana showing some issues already. And the EFL Cup, we did beat Crystal Palace home 3-0. Garnacho, Casemiro, Martial all scored. If you can believe it, this season Martial did score for United.
Actually, I was actually shocked when I went through this. I was like, oh, Martial got one in 23-24. Good for him.
And look, you look at 2 wins. That's it.
Tough.
One in the EFL Cup against Crystal Palace in the 3rd round. And then the goal, the highlight of the month, Burnley. That's how low we're stooping here, but it was a
nice
Bruno
goal.
banger here.
It was a nice goal.
An opportunity for Fernandes to take it on. And take it on he did. Well, they've been under the cosh in parts. But Erik ten Hag savouring the glorious volley, which gives Manchester United the lead.
And think about that. I mean, you're even hearing the goals in the commentary, and they're like, United's under the cosh. And yes, we're looking at Hannibal featuring for United in this Crystal Palace, in the Burnley game. But it was a sweet volley from Bruno Fernandes, who is a huge highlight throughout this, tepid start to the season.
No, we're going to talk about it consistently, right? He's once again the player of the month. Not a huge showing, but 1 goal. It was a game winner. The positives out of the season are super fucking positive, but the negatives, like the football, was just so brutal. So let's get in October.
Yeah.
3 points, 6 points. 3 matches in the EPL, 6 points. We finished the month in 8th place. And United start the month by winning against Brentford away with a stoppage time goals. 2 stoppage time goals. Can you believe it? From McTominay. Another one where we got away with one. They outplayed us. Late magic, that late Manchester United magic that only we know. McTominay came off and just won it. And that was incredible. I mean, the thing is, we had these incredible moments. I mean, this game, watching it, you're like, holy fucking shit. But we stole it and it was a fun steal, but there's a lot of it. A lot of stealing this season.
Yeah, so in the league, like you said, beat Brentford 2-1, Sheffield United 2-1, lost to City 3-0. They cooked us. And we finished the league in 8th. Champions League, we played 2. We lost to Galatasaray at home. If you can remember, we conceded late there. There was a late comeback at Old Trafford. Galatasaray, it was brutal. It was like we couldn't figure out how to
Gave
defend.
away a pen. We got a red card.
We were all over the shop. This was one of the worst. If you No, this Galatasaray game.
I'm telling you, bro, I did this. You're gonna say that so many times.
This is top 3 worst.
Wait. Okay, the way to the board.
No, this was
drubbing. Way to the fucking Palace 4-0 drubbing.
No. So City beating you 3-0. That's nothing.
Nothing. That was easy.
This Galatasaray one, where it's hey, all right, it's Bayern, and then we're playing home against Galatasaray. Need a win, and then we blow it late. And the goal that they scored and the way that they scored, how shambolic our defending was, it was nightmarish. After this one, we're 4th in the table. We pipped Copenhagen by 1 with a Magoo header in late October. That gets us to 3rd in the group, and we're kind of looking at the fixtures in the Champions League. We don't want to go back to Europa League. We want to get into the knockout stages of Champions League football, as we've struggled with that so much. But man, just a tough go all around, and a lot of red, and nothing to build on really. Everything just fits and starts. Win 2, lose 1. It's just all over the place. Highlight of the month of October: McTominay, the winner versus Brentford. Special time here from Scotty McSauce. Stoppage time, 96th minute +6.
Bruno Fernandes pumps it forward. Maguire goes up, and McTominay's in there. That's what football can do. Scott McTominay, the biggest of late doubles from the bench, and a moment to turn the tide this early in the season for Manchester United. It's brutal for the Bees.
No, and I remember this distinctly. Brentford should have beat us.
Oh yeah.
It was unbelievable. Sir, you want to get into November?
More green on the board. Better results, but we finished against Minnows what's going on? So basically, United once again played like shit away. United played like shit against Fulham. We got to wait a late winner from Bruno in the 91st minute to snatch one there. Once again, more blah football. United win 1-0 against relegation-bound Luton. They already looked relegation-bound even in November. And then, I don't know, like actually, we look at the XG. United won 3-0 against Everton right after the Toffees got their 10-point ban. So they need to come out firing.
Yeah,
they came
Sean
out firing.
Dyche,
They played.
angry.
Actually, they outplayed us. We just scored like 3 individual insane bangers, one of which was the goal of the season, the 3rd minute, sir. I mean, that was the highlight of the season. One of the highlights of the year as well.
Yeah, let's get into this is goal of the season for the entire league, and Viva Garnacho.
Rashford face to face with Mikalenko. Dalot joining in from fullback. Dalot for Garnacho! Oh wow! Oh wow! That is one of the great goals in front of a stunned Gladys Street. Special beyond special.
I mean, words can't describe that. It was even cleaner than the Rooney. I mean, obviously not against not in the same spot against like City in a derby, but just unbelievable how far out it was. Just the fact he went for it, how clean it was, and then obviously doing the Ronaldo Selly at the end. He's got it all. Garnacho.
Yeah, what a player. I mean, he had an unbelievable season last year. This season, stride for stride, just keeps growing on, and just show the level of confidence to try that goal, try that shot, try that bicycle kick in the 3rd minute, and to complete it. So just a fantastic goal from an unbelievable player, 19 years old, scored in the FA Cup final. Love to see it. What a player he is.
He's our player of the month as well. And then in the Champions League, we were praying things would get better. We can win away in Copenhagen. No, we got cooked 4-3. We could win away at Galatasaray. No, we drew 3-3. And that's pretty much all she wrote. Bayern Munich coming to Old Trafford. We needed that, we need to win. And then these teams need to, basically give up on the competition for us to get through or even get Europa League. It was, at that point, nightmarish. But you have to highlight, Onana did cost us European football. He was some of the worst goaltending I've ever seen. People thought De Gea made errors. Watch these errors back. Nowhere to hide, but it's not about making the errors. It's about how you own them and how you finish, sir. And I think that he did own it. He took it head on, and he fought back, and obviously ended up leaving for the African Cup of Nations. But
I'm retired. No, but that's a good point. Is he did cost us. He probably cost us finishing the top half of the table. If he wasn't as good as he was in the last half of the year, we probably would have finished 11th, 12th, because we got XG every game. So, and I did like how he always answered questions, almost in a cold calculate. I'm taking the heat, taking it away from the youngsters. So I like Onana, and it's tough being a goalie, bro, and it's tough filling the gloves of De Gea, one of the all-time greats. So it's
this guy trying to give De Gea a shine. You're the
he had to go, bro.
captain of the De Gea hater club.
He had to go, bro.
By the way,
I'm
I don't
telling you
understand.
what you don't want to hear.
No, I actually.
He had to go.
He did not have to go. Ultimately, it doesn't make any sense because people hated on De Gea. Really, there was some viciousness for him for those errors. And then Onana makes the errors. Everyone's it's fine.
What are you talking about?
But
everybody was vicious too, bro.
No, but you get what I mean. It's just I felt De Gea won player. He won the Player of the Year trophy from United more than any other player in the history of the club. He won the last league with Fergie. He's a legend. He always said the right thing in the press. He was a leader, in my opinion. Club treated him horribly, and fans were kicking him on the way out the door. The fans, and the way people talk about him, he's treated very harshly in a negative light. And I just don't think you should do that with any goalie, right? It's like you said, I don't want to do that with Onana, even though he probably deserves some stick here. And he's not a legend. De Gea is a legend, and people are kicking him out the club. Including yourself, so you're a little harsh on him.
Well, you're a stan. You're a stan, so you're just a defender.
No, he's a legend,
sir. He was not good the last 3-4 years he was at Manchester United.
I don't think Manchester United were good either.
No, but he was also
he
very
won the Golden
bad.
Glove. He did win the Golden Glove,
sir.
You know.
Okay. So do you want to hear? Okay.
I'm just saying.
He was great. He was great.
It is
He
a little
was
weird.
on
It's a
400
little
K.
weird.
It's because he was on so much fucking money. And
There
he was
you
so
go.
bad.
That's
bro.
a
He was
great
not good. He was the highest.
I don't think he was that
He was
bad.
the highest paid goalie in the world, and he like all of a sudden he got that money, and his performances went down.
There were some big saves, and we got Champions League
Okay,
football.
I'm just looking at the stats, bro. XG,
and
Mr.
most
XG.
clean sheets.
Okay, let's not talk about De Gea. We're going sideways talking about David De Gea. Like, I'm
I'm just
surprised
saying
we got through it so well during the transfer recap.
No, but it was. It's one of those things where hey, shout out to Gea. Know your listener, big fan.
Still unemployed.
I'm coming.
He's
to,
still unemployed.
We're coming to the Euros. I'll see you.
Is he playing for Spain?
We're going to Spain, Croatia.
Is he on the team? I missed that.
We're going to Spain, Croatia. De Gea's got me in the box,
Is
bro.
he-
I'm
is
going to be
he-
eating tapas with De Gea. You're going to be out in the
I
back.
thought he was on the team, bro.
I'm going to be eating tapas with De Gea in the box.
We're
You're gonna be
not
out
even
in the back.
New Year, bro. We're not even in the New Year.
You're gonna be like out in the back, bro.
It's hot
You're
as
gonna be,
shit
like
in the
left
pod room,
field,
okay.
like in the bleachers, bro.
Vamos.
I'm gonna be like eating those like elite tapas with the Spaniard. Come on, EFL Cup. We got kicked out by Newcastle.
Smoked us.
That's just
December.
kind of how it was going, unfortunately. And then let's jump into December, sir.
Holidays from hell, baby. 7 games, 8 points. This was as brutal of a December run as I've ever seen at Manchester United. I mean, this is the worst season I've seen in my life. Almost 40. Been a United fan for almost 20 years, just about. This was the worst season we've had in 40 years, 50 years, so that would make sense. But this was brutal, sir. Like I said, 7 games,
Merry
8
Christmas.
points. Finished the month in 8th, and it was wicked, bro. We started the month getting cooked 1-0 by Newcastle. We were lucky to only lose 1-0. We actually showed up against Chelsea. They were the jokes of the league at this point. They'd laugh at us at the end of the year. So we got a deserved 2-0 one. But this one, the Bournemouth one, was like, of the first half of the season, other than the Palace one, this one really stung me. We got brutalized.
Bournemouth one,
At home, bro.
Solanke, just like rope-a-dope. Like, come on, the cherries. Liverpool away. Finally, Ten Hag decides to pack it in. We draw 0-0. West Ham beat away by David Moyes 2-0. That was coming. Villa out of nowhere beating them 3-2. This was sort of when it was heating up a little bit. The chair for the manager. It heated up multiple times this season. I feel like this Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Liverpool, West Ham run. It was getting warm.
I remember it was just announced.
And it was like, oh, Villa's gonna cook us.
The deal broke on the 24th.
On the 24th, yeah. I think that gave him time. And the Villa game winning. Lost to Nottingham Forest away. No good. Champions League game. Lost to Bayern Munich at home. 1-0. That was the death nail. Worst European campaign in our history. To me, that's just... Our record in Europe is already embarrassing. It's like I'm already, I'm insecure about our record in Europe. Like the Scouse Bastards having more Champions League and European Cups, it bothers me. That's like the one thing that I want United to correct. I want us to like do well and win in Europe, like in my lifetime, and I don't know if that will happen. Just like the U.S. winning the World Cup, like I need us to win 3. I need us to match Liverpool or surpass them. I need us to be elite in Europe because our European history, other than 99 and 68, it's really the Barca team, the cheating Pep and losing back-to-back against Barca. We got to right the wrong. We got to come back, just like Sam Wise said. And the worst one in our history, it's like, come on. Champions League, we're just
we weren't winning it anyway. Like,
it kills
we
me.
go on to get embarrassed by some other team. I agree with you.
It kills me, sir.
But United,
it hurts,
it's not
right?
all about the quantity.
Mourinho
it's all
saying
about the
we're not a
quality,
European
the
club. He said it, and we're not. He said it, and we're not.
You back those lines, bro.
No, but it's true.
You don't say it when you're the
It's
fucking
true.
manager of Manchester United.
I know you don't
We're
say
going
it,
on,
but
we're
it's
going.
true.
We gotta get through December.
It's true.
Who is the goal of the season? Who
hurts.
was the highlight of the? It's true, but we
Highlight? There's no highlight.
Yes,
This
there
is
was
the
a highlight.
worst month.
Hoyland scores his first goal in the EPL to bury Villa, sir. 81st minute. I love this goal.
Count Chocula coming at you.
Bruno Fernandes with the corner. And Hoyland! Dream fulfilled! And Manchester United from the
Great goal. Look what it means to the man, the Dane. Reflex. What a goal. You love to see that, sir. What a finish. Put a fork in that year. Obviously, the Ineos deal, like you said, was announced huge. Again, remember the backlash against Ineos. Everyone wanted Qatar to buy them. Rio Ferdinand wearing the whole setup and people trolling everyone online. We said, hey, hold on. It's not done till it's done. And I felt like that kind of, there's a lot of people kind of got exposed during that period of time. We held strong on, and also people kind of killing Ineos when they bought him, and I was like, look, they wouldn't do this deal unless it was like heavily structured and they can actually make moves, which now they're running the club. If that's a good thing, time will tell. January, New Year, same United. Didn't really do much here. 1 game, 1 point. Finished the month in 7th. We played Tottenham. Drew 2-2. Think about that. Tottenham beat us. We drew them. It's like that.
We also blew a lead twice. It's like these. Even when we do show up for a part of it, we fucking blew it. We would blow it over and over again. So just incredible season. Just
same result as the season prior, playing them away too. 2-2. Blew another lead there, and you hate it when Tottenham's getting you're getting 1 point from playing Tottenham home and away. That's the type of year.
We played well last year.
Of course, it was like a fire start. It was
we
great,
should have beat them. Like we should have smoked them.
But United post Fergie, when top 4 is on and the games are on, it's hard for us to show up. And the FA Cup, we won 2 games, beat Wigan, beat Newport County. And then, sir, you want to sum up the January transfer window?
Yeah, that's it. Transfers in, none. Reguilón got sent on loan. Actually, his loan ended, which raised a lot of question marks because the Malacia injury just dragged with no update, and Luke Shaw got injured again. So a lot of question marks here, especially after we end up loaning to sell Alvaro Fernandez. So United was caught in a lurch and kind of carrying all the bad decisions of the front office and whatever involvement Ten Hag had, but either way, they made the wrong choice.
Horrible choice.
We had no cover, and then AWB was basically injured until the last 2 months of the season. Then it was fine, but it was a fucking mess, bro.
He was good too. When he played, I'll judge it by Tellus. He's better than Tellus, bro. And guess what? In a backup left back, he's about right. You want to say he's serviceable. He can play. Luke Shaw is obviously better. I have no idea we got rid of him. We obviously have the money. This one made no sense, and it killed us the second half of the season. February, shortest month of the year, but in the only shortest period of pain, sir. 5 games, 12 points, finished in 6th. Are we kind of making a run here? This was a little bit of a run in the league. We beat Wolves away 4-3. That was a nervy one with the late Manu winner. Unbelievable. West Ham killed them 3-0. Garnacho with the brace, Højlund with the goal. Villa beat them 2-1. Luton 2-1. And then Fulham, we did lose there. FA Cup, 1 game, 1 win. We beat Nottingham Forest away. Very simple stuff, but the Manu winner would be the goal of the year. 3-3 Wolves, 97th minute. Let's go.
And he might rue now some of those attacking plays he's taken off. And here's Kobbie Mainoo! Kobbie Mainoo, the teenager, may have won the game with his first goal of the Premier League. Drama and yet more drama.
Truly unbelievable. He has arrived, first goal, and to do it that way, where it's 4 defenders around him, cuts inside, and then the easy curl. I'm really showing what type of player he was, sir.
No, just an incredible goal. The funny thing is, watching that back now, and this was in February, he looks like he's grown up even since then. He looked like he had more of a baby face 4 months ago. Maybe I'm just nuts, but I think that was really the Kobbie Mainoo coming out party. This one was oh, he's gonna get picked for the Euros, and he's just continuing that form. So shout out Kobbie Mainoo, shout out Rasmus Højlund. He was on fire this month. 5 goals, 1 assist. It was a good month for the Dane. And United played some good football this month, and then because Martinez was back, and then he got injured again, and then I don't know. That seems like an issue if we can only play well when this one defender has an injury issue shows up. So we got to figure that out. Whoever our manager is next year.
March, same, but different. The EPL, 3 games, 4 points. Like you said, a little momentum in February, and then kind of back to some tough fixtures here. But we had a huge win in the FA Cup, that Liverpool 4-3. That was probably the highlight of the month with the Ahmad winner. In the league, City beat us 3-1, unfortunately. They do the double on United. Everton, we beat them at home 2-0 with 2 penalties. And then Brentford away, we drew. So, kind of a little bit of everything here.
But this game, I have to call it out, sir. This game is the most United 2023-2024 game this season. We played like shit the whole game. We literally got played off the park by Brentford. Mason Mount comes off the bench with his 6-month injury, scores the winner, and then we fucking blow it. Like 3, it just, I don't know. You know, even when like we get a bit of luck, we shoot ourselves in the other foot. So it was a hell of a season.
Hey, let's enjoy those Liverpool tears. The moment of the month, the Ahmad winner, getting us to the FA Cup semis.
Swung in by Tsimikas, touched by McTominay. Elliott robbed. Here's Garnacho. Ahmad, who stole the ball, gets it back from Garnacho. But the young man, can he make himself a hero? He has done. It's Manchester United's quarter-final. In classic Manchester United fashion, the counter-attack. And a youngster doing it as well.
This goal had it all, right? It had the Ahmad. I mean, the Ahmad finish, unbelievable. Then he took his jersey off, got a red card, got suspended for the semifinal. Funny. Then the crying kid in the crowd, like it had it all. Liverpool tears, drink him up. Jurgen Klopp, see you later. You know he's not there.
Quad. This was also like peak quad. They were like, remember going to this game, we thought everyone was like, we're gonna get fucking annihilated. And they're going to win the quad. They were in the hunt for the league at this point. And this kind of was like the beginning of the end for poor old Jurgen Klopp's 23-24 season. So at least that's a little bit of sweetness.
All right, now this is when the pain train starts chugging along. In the league, blew the lead against Chelsea, 4-3, lost. Drew Liverpool, that was actually good vibes because that hurt them in the league. But again, at one point, Bournemouth away 2-2. Solanke stinging us again early, and we played bad. 1 point from playing Bournemouth. That is horrid. Sheffield United, we did beat 4-2, but we are conceding goals left and right and conceding tons of shots. Burnley 1-1 at home. You remember that. That was a real tough run for Manchester United. And then in the FA Cup semifinals, we played Coventry, the legendary game. We blew a 3-0 lead. They scored 3, I think, in post the 70th minute. And then in extra time, they had a goal that should have been onside called off. And we pip them in penalties. It was embarrassing to even win this game, but it got us to the final. It was just like this was like the most toxic moment. Like that Galatasaray one really got me, but this one, Galatasaray, I was mad. This one, I was like ashamed.
You remember?
I was embarrassed. I had embarrassment, the feeling of embarrassment of like Coventry fighting and their fans singing, and United just looked like they didn't want to be there. Just had a real negative vibes around this game.
I mean, Højlund scored the winning pen in penalty shootout, and nobody came and celebrated with him. So it's like they shouldn't have been a contest. We made a meal of it. We made a meal of the whole season. This was kind of fitting, but in this instance, we actually got away with it. So we moved on to the finals, and we know what happens there. But let's talk about the highlight. Mainu, once again, like what a banger he scores in the league against Liverpool. We should have held on, and then we once again dropped points when we shouldn't.
Here we go, the Mainu highlight of April.
Mainu. Garnacho. Wan-Bissaka. Mainu! A career-defining moment, perhaps.
Like, honestly, he's like 19 years old, scores like a banger at Old Trafford and doesn't even care. Like, it's just unbelievable. I mean, and then Jurgen Klopp yelling on the sideline. Absolutely love it. Like, yeah.
I will miss that. I will miss
like the giant teeth, like, you know, and the waving the arms like a lunatic. That was great. Look, sir, it's May. Let's just get to the point here. In the league, Crystal Palace cooked us. One of the worst losses of the season. Arsenal kind of beat us 1-0, not really a contest. And then the manager out of nowhere decides, you know what? This formation where we've been getting melted for like the last 10 games, I'm going to go with Bruno false 9, play one more in midfield. We beat Newcastle. We beat Brighton. And then in the FA Cup, we beat Man City against the odds. We lift our 13th FA Cup. Huge win for the players. All good vibes all around. It's exactly what we needed. Needed the banter for the rest of the summer. I live on banter, sir, and we got that over a bunch of clubs like Arsenal didn't win nothing, and something to build on.
Something to build on, indeed. You know, nobody saw this coming. We all, you know, the chatter around, not necessarily us, but like the football universe was like United didn't deserve to be in this final, right? Because the Coventry embarrassment, having to go to penalties in the first place, they were much better with us in stoppage time. United didn't belong to be there. United showed up. Best game we played all season, which isn't saying much, but we did play well. We deserved to win. And, dude, it's a great trophy. Like FA Cup, I'll take it all day. It's not the sweet nectar we want, Champions League and League, but, hey, I'll take it. The season was terrible. We get into Europe. We knock Newcastle out of Europe. That's fucking hilarious.
Huge.
And we get Europe. And we get Franz and Franz. And we get the money that goes with it.
Community Shield as well. We play City a week before the season starts. I think that's going to be a great tune-up. Just good. We needed this. We needed this. Is the worst season, like you said, in our lifetime. And to finish with the FA Cup turns a lot of things around. And then the manager off to vacation, the uncertainty, etc. That's where we are. But before we get into that, Kobe Mainoo, FA Cup final. What a goal.
De Bruyne. It breaks down. Now Bruno Fernandes. Here's Rashford. A fantastic, confident pass for Garnacho. United in the mood again here. Bruno for Mainoo for 2-0. It is just remarkable.
He looked amped on that goal. What a goal from Kobe Mainoo. From Rashford to Garnacho to the no-look from Bruno. Please tell me that's not his last assist for Manchester United.
Don't you dare say it. What a goal. I mean, what a goal. It was a great individual finish, but a great team goal, fun team goal to rewatch. Obviously, the significance means a lot, but it was actually that was good football. That was the best football. That goal was the best football we saw all season. And you know what? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I'm glad we finished on a high, because otherwise this summer would be even more of a mess than it will likely be.
Sir, absolutely. Look, we finished the season 8th in the league. We went out early in the EFL Cup, worst European campaign, and then winning the FA Cup, right? So we had a lot of worst finish in the Premier League history. Worst European campaign, like most shots conceded in a season. All these kind of I saved us the negative stats. But there's a long list of them, and then we have FA Cup final. What a cup day. What a win. But for me, looking back on the season, there's one big item from a statistical perspective I want to point out. Manchester United finished 15th in the table on expected points. That means if you just took the XG and that determined who won the game, Manchester United would have finished 15th. We finished 8th. We should have conceded 75 goals. And we only, based on XG, we should have conceded 75. To your point on Onana, we only conceded 58. So we were to the good 16.7 goals. We finished 15 points to the good. We finished 7 places to the good from where we were actually producing and conceding chances. Again, we were conceding so many chances to opposition. The shot totals were insane. And it took Erik ten Hag too long to make the adjustment. And when he made the adjustment and he put more numbers in midfield, we saw what United was capable of. And that was my major frustration with the manager. Again, shipping 17 goals after the 17th minute shows you the mentality. We were bluffing a little bit, and our players just didn't create enough. Bruno, 23rd overall in XG in the EPL. Garnacho, 27th. Those are our top 2 best players. And if you look at the rankings of Manchester United players of XG plus non-penalty XG, plus X assists per 90 minutes, Bruno Fernandes comes out on top at 0.51. Garnacho right behind him at 0.47. I thought that was a great indication of kind of Garnacho played a lot of minutes and he was in the mix. He was assisting things. He was creating goal-scoring opportunities. So Garnacho, huge prospect. And actually, Antony was high on the list with 0.42. He didn't produce, but he was getting the X threat from the assists as well as the chances, just couldn't convert. So we're not going to be able to sell Antony. We're stuck with him, but here is a stat that shows that Antony might not be as bad as that frosted tip haircut might suggest, sir.
Stats do lie.
Højlund is behind him at 0.38. Obviously, Højlund's not making the assists, so his metrics should be down a little more, and Diallo right behind Højlund, but Rashford is behind all of them at 0.32. Right neck and neck with Scott McTominay, and Rashford playing on the wing should not be outpaced by Garnacho by that amount, from 0.47 down to 0.32, really showing how Rashford was one of our most mediocre attackers throughout the season. Just some nerding out on the stats a little bit, trying to provide some flavor here from an attacking perspective, but showing the value of Bruno and Garnacho really being those elite attackers, and Antony maybe not being as bad as everyone thought.
All right, so let's get into our season awards. That's a good stat. I mean, sir, Anthony. Yeah, I mean, what do you think, sir? You've been slating Anthony for years now, but
no, I'm just saying interesting look at the stats as far as like wingers and production, and like
it feels that way. Bruno had a great year, right? We were shit, but Bruno consistently performs. That's what you get out of Bruno Fernandes. XG, obviously lower down the table, but like he should have had more assists if United knew how to score. And then the big question is Marcus Rashford, right? His fall off was certainly didn't help, right? Because we were missing goals in the first half of the season for sure, and probably in the second half of the season. And he did not have a great season. So we're going to have to find goals somewhere, because I don't think he's going to get back to 20. Maybe he will. 20 goals in the EPL. We'll see.
You have to look at the data.
Sorry, sometimes you just got to look at the data. But let's get into our season awards. This is our Sir Bobby Charlton Award. Give it out every season. I think this one's pretty easy to wrap up here, sir. Who do you have as your MVP for Manchester United in this kind of mediocre season?
I mean, it has to be Bruno, without a doubt. Fans pick as well. It's like he had the most combined goals and assists. He created the most chances in the EPL, and we were fucking terrible. So I think that just speaks to how good of a player he was and is. He finally missed some games for United in the EPL for the first time in 4 years. So that also speaks to how
we were horrible.
Durable he is. And we were horrible, and he was so good. So, yeah, he's the man, continues to shine, and he would be a massive hole if he was to actually go to Bayern this summer, and I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, it has to be Bruno. Fans said 72% went to Bruno. Mainu, number 2 with 13%. Dalot, number 3 with 8%, and Garnacho with 7% to fill it out in 4th place. Most Improved Award, the Sir John O'Shea Award. Most Improved Player for the 23-24 season. Who do you have here?
I think it's Garnacho. I think after playing a full season last year, I think his step up, amount of confidence he has, right? His just contribution has stepped up in a meaningful way from his first season last year. And he's a player, bro. He owns the left wing. He can play on the right wing. He won the goal of the year for the EPL. And I can't wait to see what kind of player he shows up next year, because he's got something. He's the real deal.
Yeah, I would say Garnacho by a significant margin. He became a starter this year, and like you said, the versatility left and right. I mean, he played on the. I thought he could only play on the left, and then boom, white. He's
great
killing
on
it on the right.
He was great.
So he went from sort of like a super sub, ton of potential, to like bang on starter. The fans said Mainu with 66%. Garnacho in second place with 24%. I only say that because we have our Young Player of the Year award, the Jimmy Murphy Award, which I'm going to give to Kobe Mainu. I think you will as well. He really broke onto the scene and almost became the prospect / starter in 1 year. So maybe what Garnacho did in 2, Mainu did in 1, and scoring in that final the way he did, and his first goal against Wolves, just unbelievable. He looks to be an absolute baller.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jimmy Murphy, we're in agreement, because he did make his first appearance, the season before, but he didn't really play the way Garnacho played last season. So he's the Jimmy Murphy Award in my mind. He had his breakout and solidified. And he's gonna probably
with an injury too, and came back from injury.
And he's gonna probably start in the Euros in England, for English team in 19.
Hey, I'm like Kobe Mainu. You did get the Kobe Mainu England kit. The Alex jersey curse is real.
I don't know if it applies. Mason Mount kit, and he missed the entire season.
Sir, you just let me finish
England
my
kit.
slight
England
on you before
kit.
you come back hot. I'm saying,
come back hot.
There is an international United crossover curse. I'm just letting you know.
No, there is not.
So,
that is
you're
new
about to see it.
That you invented.
You're about to see it. The Wout 27 is the jersey you should be buying. That's all I got to tell you about that. You need the Wout 27. Big Wout guy over here.
Biggest disappointment
Big Wout
is the lack of AC in the Potter room, and it's fucking hot as shit. What hour is it?
Baby.
It's so hot.
Sweaty here. I got this guy in the Wout 27.
Let me go put my wetsuit. Let me go put my wetsuit on. Double XL.
Double XL. Wow, 27.
Penguin. Or Batman Returns. We're losing over here.
Okay.
Biggest disappointment.
Here we go. Biggest disappointment award. Sir Bebe Award. Love that name. Biggest disappointment for me, Marcus Rashford, going from absolutely lights out, comeback, pointing at the head, and got my mental under control. Big money deal. Surely he's not going to take the money and go to Belfast. This one, I already thought Antony was a bluffer last year, so I'm not going to make it my biggest disappointment, because it was a disappointment, really. I already knew that he was a bluffer. Rashford thought we would get some solid production out of him. In all fairness, Ten Hag did play him in through the middle to start the season when he gave the Gary Neville an interview and said he did not want to do that. United didn't have options, but regardless, it looked like he was dealing with mental and off the pitch, and he might leave United this summer, which would be a travesty. We love Marcus Rashford. We want him to break the all-time scoring record held by Wayne Rooney. He should be a United legend. He should be given time to figure stuff out. I just hope he has the right people around him and doesn't bounce off to PSG.
Yeah, that's going to be one to watch. He definitely had a letdown this season. My biggest disappointment is Erik ten Hag. I was Anthony, but I was like, you're so right. It's like, what did he disappoint? The disappointment was we had a great first year with the Dutchman. I think we overperformed, third place, EFL Cup, another final. You know, the summer was a fucking mess, but he should have righted the ship earlier. Like, we should have been, all things considered. You know, I know there was a lot of hype around Unai Emery, and he has a really good team, and he plays some really good football. Same with Spurs at moments. But, like, if you look at how things played out over 38 games, there's no reason we shouldn't have finished in fourth. Like,
It's true.
We were terrible. We finished, like, 6 points behind fucking Villa. It's like, so that's my disappointment. Like, he has it in him. He's just so fucking and we saw it. We had the last 3 games of this season. He showed that he can be flexible, and when he does, it works. It just, like, it disappointed me. Because everything else would have worked out better if he was a little bit more nimble. And he wasn't nimble enough. He just kept taking fucking...
He's fighting ghosts, dude.
Exactly.
He was fighting ghosts, just like Sam
Haymakers.
Darnold on the sideline of the, you know. Goal of the season, sir. Well, no, the fans vote for disappointment. They say Anthony.
Of course.
I say, what was there to disappoint? 56% went with Anthony. 26% went with Rashford. Then Casemiro's worth a shout, too. Casemiro, like one of the best midfielders. We thought we had the best midfield last year with Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno. That was like going to the Arsenal game. We felt like that was the best midfield in the EPL. It was for like probably 10 to 15 games, and that just fell all apart. Eriksen could be on here as well. He didn't come through like he did last year. Moving on, goal of the season. I mean, it's clearly...
There's a lot. Actually, there's a few.
You think so? I mean, it's Garnacho for me. It's Garnacho. That's the best.
Individual goal of the season by far. Like, I was thinking team goal, significant goal. But yeah, I mean, if it's just goal of the season from a cosmetic standpoint, it's Garnacho, and I can't argue.
No, you could say the Manu City. That's a team goal.
I like the Manu City goal. I like the Manu Wolves winner. That was kind of like his come out, like, who am I, motherfucker? Like, come out moment. That, like, holy shit, who's this guy? But it's Garnacho because holy shit, like that's a all-time. I mean, the fact that we're like, oh, it's better than Wayne Rooney's fucking famous bicycle kick that also won the goal of the season, that also won the EPL title against the second best team in England at the time.
No, the City, the all-time best goal is the Rooney bicycle kick for United, in my opinion. But you know, as far as the top match or moment of the season, the Roy Keane Award, sir. Moments FC. What was your moment?
It's FA Cup. It's like showing up. You know, we finally decided to show up at the last game of the season, and we showed up, and we won it, and we deserved to win it. So that's it.
Ineos for me. Ineos getting the deal done. I'm going to say moment of the season. That really defines the season if you think about it. Like Ten Hag, uncertainty. Like you could have written off the first half of the year because of the new owners, and then them coming in. And then now what's going on? I mean, like, the only reason why I say it's the moment is it's hopeful the structure took control away from the Glazers. Now what they do with it, I have to think they could do a better job than the Glazers, but oh my God. End of the season grades as a whole, 23-24. It's in the bag. We just went through the recap, sir. Sweating here in the bunker. What grade would you give this season? We have not spoken about this yet.
My initial grade before the FA Cup final was an F. An F for Fred the Red. And now I'm going to give it a C- because, like, it changes. We passed all of a sudden, and before we were failing because we ended up in Europe and won a piece of salt.
Pass?
So C-. So give me your F.
I'm not going to give it an F. I did have a similar grade, unfortunately. I had C-. I'm going to go D. Because I have to be harder on the team than you, just generally. And actually, like, it's funny when you like actually stack it up, like worst EPL finish in the Premier League era, like shots on target, everything, and then the worst European campaign, like
it was bad all around.
So it was really bad. I gotta say D because United has to be so focused on the league. Like, United are back when we win the league. Like, FA Cup is great. EFL Cup is great. Europa League is great on the way to winning 21. It's all about 21. Like I said, I want Champions League football, but it's all about winning our 21st title. And Sir, getting to the final poll here, as far as the manager stands, we did one last poll. Last time we did it, it was 60-something out for Ten Hag. And after the FA Cup, fans say they want him to get one more year. 85% say they want one more season from Ten Hag. And only 15% say it's time to move on. That is a significant shift. That's what the FA Cup buys you. That's what it bought Sir Alex back in the day. For me, I see this with the delay in Ashworth. I feel like, as somebody who thought like Ten Hag he could never get a grip of this year. And if a manager can't get a grip on the season or show me something going in the right direction, short of like one game, like he's got to go. That's just my opinion. It's a little harsh. I get it. But given we can't get Ashworth in and we're going to have this squad, like he should be back. Yeah. Like like if you're telling me we're not going to make a lot of moves and this is kind of going to be a run it back type of thing because we don't have our DOF in, like Erik ten Hag's the man to do it. And probably eat a little bit of crow with this squad as well because he's not. The problem with him is conflicting. He like wants more money, he needs more spend, and it's like, no, you got to run it back with the same team and do better. That's kind of what I want to see from Ten Hag. Is he interested in that? I don't know. His stock is high. Does he want to date somebody else? Maybe. There's a lot of competing priorities. Could be a lot going on behind the scenes. But if we're going to run this team back with this squad, he should be back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we both flip-flopped on this, but I think rightly so. It's like you win the cup the way you did it against the team we did it against. It does change things. And also, like you said, there's so much uncertainty. We don't have a DOF. Like, we have a transition. It's kind of a mess. The team has a lot of work to be had. And right now, it's like, yeah, stick with the man you got. Because, like, he wants the job. He wants to stay at Manchester United. This is the fucking promised land. There are like two.
No, he has one more year, and you have to pay him $10 million.
Yeah,
right? That's more.
But he also wants to be the manager of Manchester United because there's only two.
Everyone
clubs.
does
Exactly.
Of
So
course
my
does.
point
Like,
is like
nobody.
He wants to stay at Manchester United. The fans want him to stay.
It's not about that.
Sir.
It's not about just wanting to stay. It's about like, do we want him or not? Right. That's always the case.
Let
with
me
the
get
manager.
to the point I'm trying to make.
Every manager wants to stay.
We
United.
obviously want him to stay. The fans clearly want him to stay, right? You're not the only one. We're not the only ones to come up with like 85%. Like, should he stay? Right? He wants the job. He doesn't want to leave. He's not like he's not Latin. He's not going to try and go to Barca or Real Madrid. They'll never hire him. They're the only clubs that are in the same sphere as we are. And we should run it back because what other options do we have? Like, there's not that many good people available.
Blow up the team.
Tuchel will be available unless he goes to Newcastle. That's what I was thinking about. Like, the only thing that would fuck you with Tuchel is like when they eventually move on from Eddie Howe, and if they were to pick up Tuchel, that could get feisty.
If we were going to fire everyone and blow up the team, you get a new guy. If you're going to run this team back, you run it with Ten Hag. Now, I think we should blow up this team and get a new coach. Like, that is the right thing to do, is literally like get Ashworth in here, sell everybody, everyone's fired, everybody's fired, right? The whole thing. Ten Hag's fired, players are fired, everyone's fired, fire sale, burn it all down. That's what we should be doing. If we do not do that, I could see a reason to bring him back because of how he played in the FA Cup. If we're not going to get rid of like Magoo and Evans and all these guys and like all these bit part players who shouldn't be here, and Ten Hag's going to stay, you could keep him. That's kind of where I see it. And I'm starting to see this window isn't going to go well. And then what manager is going to want to come in and manage the same team that like let Ten Hag down? And like we were talking on the Patreon pod, the 3D chess from Ineos might be like, hey, give him the same team. Don't give him a lot behind him. And then like let him eat crow next year, and then if he fails,
well, it gives them,
and then that gives Ashworth next summer, the following summer, buys you more time. Or that's another way to think about it.
It's not happening until next summer anyway. I'm not talking about Ten Hag. I'm talking about like the big changes that we all were waiting for. It's like they need some runway, and they haven't had any runway to get going and get their hands dirty. And I agree with you. And also, it gives them a blood sacrifice. They have a body that they can execute in front of the fans and the press at any time they want. And that's valuable, and I think they're going to use that. That's what they're going to stick with them. But like, they're being weak by having this just like drag. It makes them look weak. It is not a good look for the club. And they should just like whatever decision they make, just make a fucking decision and go with it.
Absolutely. Okay. Getting into our season recap fan questions. At Man United DYL, I appreciate you guys so much. Glory, Man United. No, appreciate you, Dylan. Thank you so much for listening, supporting the pod through these tough times. What a horrible season to recap, but we're here. We're breaking it down on a Monday night. At Johnny McGill 1, if Erik ten Hag stays on next season, we win the Europa League and finish 8th again, but we qualify for the Champions League through the Europa League, is he staying on? Keep the country Kerry shout-outs going, guys. Let's go. County Kerry. Let's go.
County Kerry. I don't know. I mean, I hope. I mean, if the football's better, 8th is probably gonna be an achievement next year, given how things are lining up. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like this season, let's
just play good football.
Yeah. If the football's better and we win a Europa League and we still like kind of suffer in the league, have some injury, like that's different. But if we keep playing another 38 games in the EPL,
38.
I mean, that's it, bro. It's 38 every season, no matter what.
38 up, 38 down.
19 home, 19 away, bro. It's like the simplest, streak of schedule you'll see. So if it's shit football again, they're gonna fire him before 2025. Like they'll fire him before the end of the new year, end of the calendar year. So they'll move quick. The thing is, like all of a sudden, like fans will turn on them too if things get shit for a couple months.
Shout out County Kerry. Let's go. At Olson Dylan, man, so happy it's over and nice to end on a sweet note. But so many questions. Stick with Erik ten Hag, sell Rashford, which new manager, what players to sign, realistic expectations and goals for next season. I don't know what to think. My head and heart are conflicted on those. Honestly, the only thing, shit football needs to die. It needs to die this year. It needs to die with that FA Cup win. We need to figure out how to play like the Villas, like even the cities of the world. Like we got to identify a style of play. Wilcox is in charge of that, and whoever our manager is, we have to stick with that no matter how bad it gets. Even if we're 12th or 13th in the league, we got to stick with the style of play, playing out the back possession base, dominate the ball, take it to opponents. We got to stop what we're doing and what we did this year.
100%. I mean,
that's the only thing.
Youth, let's build the youth. I hope we get a couple signings that scrappy players that turn out to be good buys in the long term, but it's all about building a foundation. We need to get back to basics. We need to clean house, figure out what we can build around, and then move forward. Always forward.
At D_Cole18, Erik ten Hag in just because I don't like the coaches available. Another good point. I'm sick of the manager musical chairs every 3 years while letting the deadwood and overpaid players stay. We got to clear out. We need to get rid of Lindelof, Varane, Evans, Casemiro, Eriksson, Martial, Greenwood, Sancho, Anthony, Facundo, Marcus. Busy summer ahead. We want a busy summer. I don't know if we're going to get a busy summer, and we're going to end the season recap on this one. At Mike United Mets, if Martinez and Varane stayed healthy, where would we have finished in the league? Center back, the top priority in the transfer window to me. What would you prioritize? I think center back is top of the list, but the priority is selling because we're sell to buy with our budget. So we need to sell well, and that will lead us on.
Well, I think we saw what happens when Martinez and Varane are healthy. They were healthy his first year. That is Erik ten Hag's first year. We finished 3rd. So I think it makes a huge difference. But then again, you have to be able to get a result even when there's injuries because we're going to have injuries. So you see it both sides. It's like they are huge players, but you have to be able to adapt without those players, right? How good was Fergie at that? He was the best at making fucking Johnny O'Shea turn into a world beater. So no more excuses. Let's play like champions. It's going to be a fucking long road. It's going to stay dark for a while. We got a long way to Mordor before we destroy that, that evil ring. But one day at a time. But it's going to be shit for a while. So just hang in there.
At Sabres Car Guy, it's been great to listen after all these matches. Thanks for sticking through it. The FA Cup made sticking through it worth it all. Thanks for the advice when I went to Old Trafford this year. What a game that was. Of course, anytime. That is it. That is the season in the books, 23-24. Call it done. It's onwards and upwards. Like Samwise said, it's worth fighting for, sir. It's fighting for this club. Fighting for a glimmer of hope of next year. So much to do. Ashworth, new manager. When are they going to drop the Ten Hag decision? Transfer window, the Euros. By the way, we're going to the Euros. We'll be headed there in 2 weeks. Can't wait. Going to be going to that Spain game, eating those tapas with the hay in the box. This guy's going to be in the bleachers.
Tell him
with
I say
the
what
creatures up in section 400. I will. Nosebleeds, sir. How we feeling? How we feeling about that? Again, thanks to everyone who listens to the podcast. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/AmericaDevils, AmericaDevils.com, AmericaDevils.store. Sir, tell them about our top 10 downloads from the past 7 days. Shout out County Kerry.
County Kerry, number 1. How you doing? Los Angeles, California, Phoenix, Arizona, Flushing, a.k.a. Queens, New York, shout out. Chicago, Illinois, New York, Dallas, Texas, Dublin, Ireland, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, and last but not least, Brooklyn, New York. Appreciate all the American Red Devils who listen week in, week out. Couldn't do without
week in,
you.
week out. Let's go.
In, week out. You know, someone said that. We got to start talking about it. And all of a sudden, we won the FA Cup out of fucking nowhere. So week in, week out. Maybe we'll have a big summer. We appreciate you guys. It's been a hell of a season. 23-24 in the books. On to the next one. Let's move forward.